Hello, I'm Jerry Hancock. Welcome to our video. This is going to be a day on the lake. We're out here in October. We're trying to find a pattern for some crappie. The fish have been on a summer pattern up till recently, and they're coming off the pattern. They're moving up. They're going to start on their fall pattern. I haven't been on the lake in a few weeks, so we're coming out here on a day. The wind's blowing a little bit. The conditions aren't perfect. I've wanted to do a video where the conditions weren't perfect. Not every time you get to come to the lake do things work out perfectly. So this is going to be one of those days. We've got a southeast wind. There's some places I'd like to fish. I probably won't be able to. I'm not exactly sure what depth the fish are going to be in. They've been in deep water. They may have moved up shallow. Water temperature is going to be in the 70s. So we're just going to go out. We're going to give you an idea of what I look for, how I go about approaching trying to find and establish a pattern on some crappie. You never know some days till you get to the lake exactly what you're going to be looking at. So come with us. We're going to get out and we're going to see what we can do. The way the wind is, we're not going to be able to fish where we want to, maybe, but we'll do the best we can. So stick with us. We're going to try to go out and find some fish. All right. One thing I like to do before I go fishing is break my map out, and I know what direction our wind has. Today we've got a southeast wind, and that means it's coming across the lake at this angle right here. There's a lot of places on here that I'd like to fish that I may not be able to with the wind blowing, so I've got to think of some protected areas out of the wind that may be holding fish. I know along the dam there's some deep brush piles. They should be holding a few fish. There's some places over here on the east side of the lake. There's some submerged timber, some brush piles, and probably what I'll do, knowing that this is going to be tough to fish this side of the lake, this west side, I'll probably go to the east side. And I'm going to be looking over here, and I'm going to start on some brush piles at some different depths, some timber, and then work up in some of these coves and creeks and just see what we can find over here, what depth the fish are in. Once I catch a few fish at a certain depth, then I'll go back out and go to some other areas where I know that I have some brush at that same depth and see if we can establish a pattern. But before you go to the lake, the first thing I do is look at the wind, what the wind's going to be doing. If it's going to be blowing out of the north, it's going to change where you can fish. You need some places for a north wind that's protected. If it's out of the south or southeast, west, regardless of the direction, you're not always going to be able to fish where you want to. You're going to have to adapt a little bit. Another thing is where you unload your boat. You don't want to unload your boat at a ramp where the wind is just crashing into it. That's dangerous. Good way to sink your boat, tear something up. So the night before, day before, pay attention to what the forecast is on the wind, and that's going to dictate where you're going to be able to fish on the lake. So it's something that's a good tip and a good thing to remember everywhere we go. That's the first thing we look at is wind direction. So today, southeast wind. I'm going to go try to hit some protected areas, and we'll see what happens. What I'm going to start on right here, I've got a row of timber coming off a bank, and it's kind of out on a point, and it starts up here on the bank and runs out here to about 15-16 foot water. So it allows me to fish different depths. Good way real quick to find a depth the fish are holding in. I'm fishing some stuff that's submerged. It's all submerged timber. It's sticking up. In the fall, I like to fish submerged timber or anything that sticks high off the bottom. These fish in the summer pattern, they'll be out here in this 15, 18, 20 foot water, and they'll be holding maybe 16, 18 foot deep. The first thing they do in the fall when the water cools is they rise up in the water column, and they may suspend 10 foot deep, and they like to rise up on timber. So I'm going to start out here in this 15 foot water. Sitting in 15 foot water, I'm going to start with about 12 foot of line out on my pole, and I'm going to drop down here and see if we can't catch one on it. I can see some stuff sticking up, so I'm going to drop down here and see if anybody's home. There's a fish. Not very big, but it's a fish. Fish is about 12 foot deep. A little small, be a good one for next year. That'll be a fish. Little black crappie. Don't catch a lot of black crappie on this lake. He was at the same depth, 12 foot deep. Not the quality I'm looking for, but it's a start on getting a pattern. Another fish. Another little one. Lake's full of those. I like to keep a buoy handy. Another small one. Right here is a good example. You see a tree here, people tie up to and fish, but they've also, someone's dropped some brush down here on the inside of this tree. You can see it right here on the graph. This yellow coming up, comes up to about 11 foot. There's some brush pile someone's dropped out right here. They do that so they can tie up to this tree. You see the rope, people have been tying up forever to this tree. Well, they can sit here and tie up and fish down in some brush. So, see, when you're approaching a tree, good idea to pay attention on your graph. You might stumble upon a brush pile sitting out here on a point. It's the last tree you see. It's a perfect spot to put one. Should be a fish on that brush. There's one. A little better fish. Fishing. That fish will probably keep. Oh yeah, 10.5 inches, 15 foot water, 12 foot deep. That's 4 fish. We've been fishing about 10 minutes. Caught 4 fish and there's 1 keeper. If I can average 1 keeper for every 4 fish, I'll be happy. There's some fish. He hit it on the fall. Not very big. Using strand clear blue fluorescent line, 10 pounds what we use, but I can see it. I'm watching that line as I pick it up and I let it fall. That fish there, all I seen was my line flicker. Never felt him. I'm watching that line real close, everything I do.